So, boys, I was like in Indiana, like 2.5 hours before I actually got home. Like, oh, I'm almost home, guys. And like the whole time, these guys have just been, we weren't even close to getting home. These guys were just working on this document.
Hello and welcome to the third Eisen Index public debate. This debate is to ascertain and quantify traits of several Heartlander cultural pillars. This debate is brought to you by the Grosse Deutsche Eidgenossenschaft, Reichtum, Hingabe, Treue und Kraft. This debate is commissioned by the Hainite Council Commission on Index Debates, a for-profit, heavily politicized organization of which I am a member. This debate will last however long it takes to index a number of topics predetermined at the drafting of this debate, and will cover an assortment of topics as outlined by our two debaters, who I will now reintroduce. First, returning debater Warcries, and second, returning debater Sarfnic. We will now review the rules and format for this debate. The first debater, chosen randomly via the Lucky Trump coin, will select a topic to be indexed from any category. The literal god presiding, yours truly, will grant a preliminary rating on each relevant category. Before passing final judgment, the opposition will be allowed a chance to rebuttal, and the nominator will be allowed a brief response in attempt to change the ruling of the literal god. Please refer to the rating indices on the official Eisen Index Google document or appropriate Google slide. Tonight, for our third edition, we'll be extending our traditional 3 topics per debater rule to double its normal length for your viewing pleasure. Please stand by for the flipping of the Lucky Trump coin, which we shall reference to determine our first debater.
Sarfnic is always tails, by the way.
Sarfnic is always tails, this is correct. Heads, Warcries will be our first debater.
By the way, guys, I'm like muted half the time, so if I talk over them, they actually talk.
I say we'll begin this with, since we've begun it with Sard and we've already known the word, we'll do Aramus.
Oh, very bold. Okay. Warcries nominates me. Warcries has nominated me to be reviewed by me. Very fitting start to our third inaugural thing. I shouldn't have to tell you people this. The relevance of the literal god to the literal god, obviously a keck. Philosophical merit of the literal god. Let's talk about this. I would put my rational merit as higher than my philosophical merit.
Watch him give himself.
But like, casting myself
one
against everyone else. What to say about my philosophical merit? Drug-induced dream panic attacks, having cults upon cults, worshipping my name. I think I have a philosophical merit roughly equivalent of a Greek goddess herself, and I am often confused with said Greek goddess because everyone seems to want to pronounce my name Artemis. Yes, you would be impressed how many people fuck that one up. So, because I am so often mistaken for a Greek religious figure of some importance...
My parents, for example.
Yeah, there you go. Philosophical merit of me cannot be any less than a keck.
I dare interrupt
the rational merit
God.
of me, unbelievably enough, leaves a little bit to be desired still. I can go the full-on Scientology bro moment and explain everything through rationale, but that's not rational, because I live in a world of humans who can't understand that. And all that beautiful knowledge, without anyone who's actually capable of hearing it, isn't actually that worthwhile. Rationally compared against a lot of other people, my problem-solving ability is just a little above average. The intellect is where I get most of this. I'm going to give myself an A on rational merit. Meme potential. Whether it's me creating memes or me just strangely making memes. For instance, I gave Sarfnic, I believe, a keck on meme potential because he heralded the arrival of several memes, of which I basically spawned. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Kybe Lemon Grab. These things would not exist without the literal god. And the literal god would not exist without them. The hermetic potential of the literal god is a keck. My personal approval of the literal god. The entire story of the literal god has not yet been played through. The literal god has what could be described as a noble heart, not read through a noble lens, and I look to see the literal god actually use this in the coming college semester, which is going to be basically one grand experiment. I'll leave the Ardlores with the hanger-on there. The personal approval would generally be rather high, but the fact that I'm better than everyone else does not mean that I'm using all of my potential. I'm going to give the personal approval an A. Warcries, you nominated me to be indexed by me. Sarfnic, what would you like to see changed?
Alright, so Sarfnic believes that the personal approval of the literal god should be demoted to a D. And the reason for this is, although the literal god is good, he can always be better. And
True.
A is much far away from a K, or a K.
True.
I don't know. I just think it should be lower, that's all I think.
It is very far away from a keck. We've seen things on here that are virtually incomparable in my memory stores. For instance, you could cast Over the Garden Wall against Castlevania, and those two are still night and day, and Over the Garden Wall is not bad. But like you say, I could be better. If I don't do any positive changes going forward, I will end up somewhere in the middle of the pack, or somewhere in the high end of the middle of the pack, with little effort when you judge on a lot of different things. I'm not swayed on the personal approval side of this, because to reduce that to a D would imply that I dislike myself more and consider myself degenerate. Now, against what I might become, I'd be even tempted to bring that down to a borderline. But
yes.
The literal god didn't get this far by letting other people tell him what to think about himself. Warcries.
Okay, so I'm gonna effectively force you to change at least one thing here. So we'll start my case with meme potential. Now, you said the literal god has high meme potential. I'm gonna make you verify this, by the way, because he has created other memes via proxy. Correct? Sarfnic.
In a way.
Yes, that is effectively what you meant to say, and you verified it there. So via proxy, Sarfnic has also invited me, and I have an S+. Therefore, Sarfnic should also have a high one then. Doesn't make sense. Now, therefore, that also brings your rational merit down as well as your meme potential. I'd also like to say that
what the
philosophical merit, you said that you are higher than Greek goddesses. Nyx is included in that, Aramus. Therefore, your rational merit goes down more.
She's kind of different if you actually read the strictures of all that. But
anyways, there you go.
Basically a primordial.
I'd like a response to that meme potential argument.
Okay, so the response to the meme potential. Let's go up and see what Sarfnic has as a meme potential. Meme potential is a CAC. You are an S. I would be willing to.
That's not my argument. I'm going to go ahead here. My argument was that since my rational merit or my philosophical merit, any of my high sets were high, and Sarf invited me via proxy, that means his should be also high by your logic.
It's true, dude.
Not so, because the meme potentials that I create are passively done. It's an aura. It's an aura as opposed
to Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and Fade created Dwayne the Rock Johnson, and he was the one that actually. It wasn't you that made it. In that case, you mentioned it.
Correct. Exactly. It's a passive thing. I don't even have to try.
That's not you. That was via proxy.
Okay, well, I've made some pretty goddamn fantastic memes before.
I agree. It's just, I disagree on that one specific case.
Well, that one specific case is fine. That was kind of facetious. Let's go up to you, because I noticed you basically tried to compare, which is perfectly good on this index, compare it to comparable things. Your meme potential was listed as an S. Sarfnic's meme potential is listed as a Keck. Honestly, if you want to do this in a review episode, I would easily raise your meme potential to a Keck, particularly after last Eisen index.
I'm not arguing that mine should be higher. I'm just being, honestly,
all of ours should be lower.
No, I'm just being devil's advocate here and actually giving, trying to show some hypocrisy in the meme potential.
Let's see. Rational merit. The rational merit thing, I'm not abrasive to.
That was a joke.
Perfect.
As soon as we get more people on this index, more entities, more humans. What the fuck just happened?
Looks like I deleted something. There we go.
Control Z moment.
Yeah.
What was the rational merit of Sarf? Rational merit of Sarf was a C. Rational merit of Warcries was Jack.
I was just being devil's advocate purely there. I
will see if I made the right decision. The rational merit of the moon is an S. I contain all the knowledge of the moon and beyond. I'm not actually raising my rational merit to that. The literal gods don't have things, any good lore about literal gods is shit lore unless it has the god changing in one way, shape, or form. So naturally, I can't be a Kek in this form because I am unchanged. However, and if you're going to make the whole Christianity argument that their God is omnipotent and unchanging, read the actual original stuff. You'll see a scene where God comes down and a bunch of Judaic lawmakers, a bunch of God, what are they called? Rabbi, are arguing about one of his scriptures, and they disagree with each other. And God says, oh, well, I did read this, and he agrees with one side. And then a Jew, just a random little Jew, outsmarts him and says, ha, my children have bested me. That's an actual thing from the Talmud, if I'm not mistaken. I will give myself an S. However, I hope to see this changing into a Kek if the story goes the way I wish it. Now then, Warcries nominated me. Sarfnic, nominate your first topic of the night.
When Warcries gets rated higher than Aramus.
I nominate Harth SMP War of Season 5. The Harth SMP Season 5.
Good on you. I wanted to do that.
Another historical event, another historical Heartlander event. We've had one of those so far, that being the Everneth Season 6 conflict.
Yeah,
let's see here.
Wait, it's not supposed to be here. I posted the wrong one. Let me just delete this quickly.
In a moment, set the stage. Warcries, would you like to get us an appropriate image?
Here you go, I did the Warcries image.
Perhaps the Kaib attacks.
Also, yeah, I recommend that someone does the images for the other ones that are missing, because we're missing Everneth Season 6 War. I mean, I guess I could... I add that for Warcries, because I had no other images.
We can begin speaking on the Harth SMP Season 5 conflict. Obviously, the relevance to the literal god will be a Kek. I was a major belligerent in this. We actually set up the various sides to warring with each other. This is going to be, to give a little bit of context to the viewer, a little bit different than the Everneth Season 6 war. While it was Sarfnic versus me, basically, and that, this time, with a huge hype and huge build-up, Sarfnic is back for revenge, and would go against Warcries and I again. However, Warcries would offend me and disrespect the sacred name of Cinthoris Alzerian by taking it as his second alt's name, thus causing a three-way, Hearth-wide civil war that dominated the bulk of the first weeks of the SMP. The relevance to the literal god is a Kek because I not only engineered the formal formatting for this, I had to actually modify the Discord for the war documents that we had spamming around. I created an entirely new system that was much better balanced using the failings of the Everneth system as groundwork, and it was a lot of fun. For lore significance here, Sarfnic, the Loraksh, led the Truffala Accord against my Aetherian conquistador types, surveyor types, known as the Astergard, both of whom were simultaneously at war with the Cult of Nyx under Warcries' leadership. And they had various reinforcements, such as the Holy Egg Carton. Everyone really showed up for this conflict. It was very nice. It had a bit of friendly competition in there. People were dying left and right. Sarfnic became a war criminal. Too much to think of to not give the philosophical merit of the Harth SMP Season 5 conflict anything less than a Kek, and the rational merit as well. This stuff dominates my dreams. I still remember the entire server gathering around. Sarfnic was prepared for me this time. However, I still managed to get the jump on him and his newly recruited friend, Yurimonte, who I had a great deal of affection for. Yes, the Dawn of the Fifth Age cinematic. Very nice piece of reference there, War. That is my Astergard fleets descending on Harth to claim all of its natural resources. What to say about this? There was a fantastic battle here between Sarf, Yurimonte, and me, where the entire server was just crying out for Sarf's blood. Hundreds of memes were made about this. The personal approval of how the war went down was a little rocky initially, but I think we have our very first historical event that has my full maximal approval here. This was a fantastic conflict. There were deaths on all sides. War tore the land asunder. And that's just great. That's exactly what a conflict is meant to do. Sarfnic, you nominated the Harth SMP Season 5 conflict. Warcries, what are your opinions on this?
Okay. So, I have no real issues with this. I just want to mention...
it's fine.
after fucking dominating Sard and Sard effectively giving up on killing me, after the first battle and the rematch, I kind of just became your main supplier in the war, and that was so funny.
And all is fair in love and war.
Yeah, and the best part, I then purposely surrendered to you by killing myself intentionally.
Exactly. The poetic significance is I come to a ceasefire with Sard. War surrenders to me formally for just for peace.
I didn't know. I honestly.
Sarfnic surrenders to Warcries. This is fantastic. It was a full-on Elder Scrolls Online tier Ouroboros of just us slaying each other.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this here. I'm pretty sure we can agree that should I have not... Well, we can agree on one thing. If I hadn't supplied you and we were warring, I would win. We can agree on that?
Probably correct. Probably correct.
With supplying, it would be fairly balanced because, you know, I probably have more supplies, be the better PvP.
And you have numbers, too?
Yeah. And active numbers, so it's effectively just a one-on-one. But, so... I just quit our war despite the fact that I was confident I could still win pretty easily, because I could just cut off all his supplying.
Poetic.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to fucking demolish Sard. Sard, do you have anything to say about this?
I have no objections, but I do want to mention something. So there's this epic moment in the war where I kept making random claims that I will somehow track people's bases down. With no clear reason. Yes, I'm getting it. And then I just travel north.
That was so...
I'm in like a jungle,
lucky.
and I see a golden helmet on the ground, and I'm like,
so
someone
lucky.
is near here. So I keep traveling north, and I just come across a sugarcane farm in the middle of the desert, and Aramus is just there. And I'm just wondering what he felt, and Yuri in the voice call is laughing and joy, and then I basically make the smartest move ever. I realized that Warcries was probably near there earlier because Aramus and Warcries had been battling. So I disabled PvP, and then 40 seconds later Warcries comes swooping in with his Elytra, and all three of the generals are just standing there staring at each other.
Aramus, my netherite armor.
Perfect. And then War just gives netherite armor, and then I retreat the fight because I had no netherite armor at the time. But yeah, it was an amazing moment. This war, even if it wasn't as great as the Everdeath one, just because it wasn't as like fun and like a new thing for us, it was still great.
Because you only lost once on the Everdeath war.
The Literal God 2.0 has no further comments.
I still would have enjoyed. I prefer a war without.
Yes, I am the Literal God 2.0.
Something as random as the Everdeath war, more enjoyable to me. And I can see the fact that I didn't actually get to play.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have our first perfect item. All right.
Oh, it's a combination, actually.
Warcries Mike being bad, by the way.
Sarfnic, you nominated the Harth SMP Season 5 War, ergo the Dawn of the Fifth Age War, the fifth war in Hearth canon. Warcries, nominate your next subject.
Okay, for one, it's my Mike being bad.
I'm Rick's mine right now.
I nominate. Yeah, I formally nominate Ray.
Ray, okay.
That was on my list. Good job, War.
Ray, please give me a moment to set the stage. Warcries, find an appropriate image, yes? Okay, after our first perfect rating in existence, War brings up what is undoubtedly going to be another very high rated
It wasn't our first K, but it was our
item
first
on
perfect
this
rating.
index. Prey, 2017. Story-based sci-fi single-player game, which is exactly out of my genre, that hit me like a fucking fire truck. This thing, I did not expect to like Prey in least. I think I watched a Markiplier play it, left it alone for like a year and a half, and came back to it, and it became one of my favorite games ever. The core gameplay of this is largely you are stranded on a space station going around gathering supplies. The space station is infested by a weird sort of ecology that is basically, well, black matter that is given sentience. And you don't know why, but it feeds on consciousness. They're called the Typhon. For those who don't want any spoilers, you can shut fuck now, because this will go into both core gameplay and story. These things are fairly difficult to fight, depending on the difficulty you're playing on. These things are scary as fuck. Their design is terrifying. Each of them have unique abilities. The core gameplay of evading, subverting, or dare I say, becoming more like these Typhon is very, very good. The systems within the game, particularly the talent progression system and the crafting system, I really, really like. They feel like they could have had a bit more fleshing out, but the core gameplay and how it ties in with the story is very, very good. And give the core gameplay of Prey sustainability. Perhaps Prey's weakness here, it's not as flexible as a ton of other story games. If you go like the Dragon Age route, it's kind of incomparable because it's high fantasy, you know that. But the sustainability of Prey is not overly strong, but its core gameplay loop allows it to be palatable. A core gameplay loop of gathering shit, recycling it, researching new things, learning new abilities to enhance already apparent mechanics in the game is quite good. So even if you're taking it slow, I think the sustainability is fine. The story of Prey is short and is not complicated, believe it or not. I do think this is a really good sci-fi storyline. It doesn't have a ton of mass to it. It's not like the whole Warframe universe where you could write books upon books upon books about it, or Azeroth, or anything else comparable. Prey was a one-off, if you will. But the story for the one-off was very, very good. Particularly, I don't know, I always kind of like stories, particularly within games that have, shall we say, nuanced decision-making, particularly when it comes to temptation of power. I love the variance that can sometimes provide, and this game does that. Warframe does that. WoW with its corruption system in 8.3 did that, and even though it's not major for the story in those cases, it definitely is for Prey. I'm going to give the story an S. Visuals for 2016 were very good, except on the human models. The visuals of everything else was absolutely stunning. It's for this reason that I'm probably going to give Prey, visual-wise, and the animation is fantastic as well. The creativity of the design is very... They managed to keep it realistic, but sci-fi, which is the best. I love the divide between realism and sci-fi that some people ride. I am tempted to give the visuals a keck.
I think an S would be more.
But...
Or an A. Or a B. How I know. I can't predict Aramus.
Because they stay consistent to the art style, I'm actually going to give the visuals a keck. I would have my reservations normally.
Okay, that's a bit surprising, but whatever.
Score sound design of Prey is very, very strong. If visuals is a keck, score and sound design definitely will be. I can remember nearly every single track off of the OST. The OST is not long, but it has some true to form fucking bangers in there. The tracks as titled Typhon Voices, Alex, Neuromods. There's just a whole bunch of tracks that I can remember by name, and they're all short. But the thing is, in the game, they weave into the ambience and have certain triggers. So it flows very, very nicely in practice. Last Wish, I think, is another one that's in there. The score itself would easily be a keck. The sound design, particularly for the abilities, is very, very nice, and particularly for the enemy creatures is very, very nice. This is an easy keck for me. Refinement development of Prey was a little rocky, particularly because of a lot of bugs in the early release. So I guess it's in the same boat as Warframe in this regard, that I got to it a little bit late, but I got to it when it was very well refined. Not only this, they did put out a major expansion, Moon Crash, which changed the game. Well, it should have been a separate game, but I will count Moon Crash for the purposes of refinement and development of the game as part of this, just for refinement and development. However, that also means I need to include Prey Typhon Hunter, which is basically Prop Hunt reskinned and not a good version of it. The development of this was rocky, and the starting out piece was buggy. I'll give the refinement and development... Well, see, the game got polished a lot, though. I'm going to give refinement and development an A. Take it and be grateful. The community of Prey was a bit of a non sequitur for a while. It didn't really attract much attention, but what attention it did, I saw nothing but appreciation for this game. All the people that I ended up watching play this, seemed to enjoy it. A lot of them I had high personal approvals of. I will go along the lines of everything else and say that the community is exactly your trend line here between the two. I'll give community an S, albeit very, very small. Warcries, you nominated Prey. Sard, you and Warcries both played about this. What do you think should be changed about Prey?
Alright, so I honestly think that the story should be a keck. And it's because it's such a simple story when you think about telling it to someone. No advanced lore, but it's just so intriguing. Like when I did my gameplays through February, March, and April, I honestly just couldn't stop playing. I had to keep playing, keep streaming, and because there was so much choices that led to some hugely different outcomes. And the twists at the end, and the just like, I guess this could be more considered gameplay, but like exploring the map, I think it just is worthy of a keck. I've never seen a game that does that, like, ever. There's been some simple games like Poke Park that I've played that have been similar in concept to me, but I was a lot younger back then. But yeah, I just never see a game that really makes me want to explore without getting bored of it. I mean, of course, it's limited, but...
Argument. Warcries. What are your opinions?
So, I actually agree with Sarfnic.
Being shit.
He has the right opinions, but not for the same he has the right opinions, not for the right reasons. Anyways, story. So, I think there's just so many little small things about it that I think you honestly could write multiple books about it. Fucking take the workstations, for example. Yeah. All the random shit, like or phantoms, they're actually replicating human voices, and that's proven inside the trauma center. Things like that. I think purely off of things like that, plus the already S tier story, main story, and the decisions at the end. It does falter at the end with what's his name?
Fleshed out, but not bulky. I am convinced.
Not to mention January and all that stuff, man.
Yeah, January, December, all the Mindwipe shit with Morgan.
I was already convinced. I was already convinced, and I didn't take into account a lot of the characters. Yeah. I love the characters of Prey, particularly Morgan Yu. He has this monologue that if we were doing the character of Morgan Yu, the voice acting and the actual writing for Morgan Yu would be fan-fucking-tastic. He has this monologue where he basically gets this neuropathic-induced dream where he states that he is looking out into the void of the stars. Morgan Yu is an engineering science type, so you don't see him get artsy often. There was a line. The line was, "I just can't see it, but it sees me. I can feel it. Hate us." It was so well voice acted. I'm definitely down for giving the story a kick.
Anyway, I have another thing.
Okay.
So, sustainability. I think it should be an S. One reason. Main game, I agree with you. Moon Crash. You said refinement. And you take into account Moon Crash?
I'm not including Moon Crash in anything other than the development.
Oh, why is that?
Moon Crash was a break off of the development. I'm not going to give it any higher than any. And by the way, I included Typhon Hunter in that too, so you can't catch me there. I'm not simping.
I guess, to be fair.
Anything else?
I completely forgot about Typhon Hunter.
It's an S+ game.
Yeah.
There you go. I was tempted to give it a kick at first. I don't know. Maybe when we get to Moon Crash, you can try and sell me on that. 5-minute biohydro. I'm invoking this for personal reasons.
All right.
Literal, emotional. It needs to cool down.
I'm gonna. Neither of you properly know this. I mean, you've done your research on Hollow Knight music. I know that Aramus has done some. How's that?
I know this fucking song. I was listening to it today, bro.
You like the Hollow Knight soundtrack?
Yes, I like Hollow Knight soundtrack. It's very good.
I'm gonna do the peaceful songs there are. Oh, best track, best ambient track, or best peaceful one. How do you like the music?
It's good. Keep it for the next few. I'm hiccuping. Spicy food bad.
I've got a shit ton of music going here. I'll skip through it a bit once we start.
I guess I'll give you a clue to what my selection's gonna be. I've already got it all prepped out. I literally have. This is the first time in the next one I've had all the things prepped out.
Sir, can you believe that I've never had Mountain Dew before?
You had it today, or no? Still not have it.
About to. Is it good?
It is good. Yes. It beats Coke in my opinion. It's better than Coke.
What do you think it tastes like?
It's like Sprite and Coke if you mix them together.
Well, I've never done that, but I'll try in a sec. Here we go.
Oh my god.
That's
This is probably gonna
that-
make it in the video.
Literally exact.
Like what?
When you start, it tastes like Sprite and Coke if you mix them together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Maybe
this
it's
is
actually really
definitely-
unhealthy though. Like it's one of the more unhealthy sodas. But
I mean, let's see here. 46 grams of sugar, yeah.
my clue for the next one is gonna be a Ninjago related one.
Reminds me a lot more of Sprite than Coke, but it definitely does taste like Coke.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more like Sprite. Yeah.
It has the aftertaste without the actual, or it has the taste of Coke without the aftertaste of Coke.
Basically
It
like
has
your
the
Doritos.
Right. Well, that's actually like Coke and Sprite have the soft aftertaste, or not like the hard aftertaste, which it pops a lot in your mouth. This is a really soft one, in which it doesn't really.
I'm gonna end with a really big one. I hope you don't take my ending one though, because I get the last selection and I have a really good one
Well,
planned.
I'm not doing really big
Okay then.
so far.
Ooh, right here. How about music?
Hello.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
This will do. So, Warcries nominated Prey. Sarge, show me what you got.
All right. So this one's gonna take a bit of explanation. I choose Emperor Garmadon from Ninjago, but by Emperor Garmadon I mean Garmadon from season 8, 9, and 10. Why?
I will not do a specific character that I have IC on.
Okay, so no.
No. Literal God rejects your plate.
All right. So Sarfnic moves on to. Okay, I'm moving out my list. So Sarfnic's next nomination is gonna be the Everneth Establishment. There you go.
Internet establishment?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
This
You
is
do better.
Their staff and server, basically.
Enough about Everneth. Pick something else.
What
Oh God,
give you an idea if you'd like. Okay,
Okay.
it's our. I'm gonna actually constrict you to force you to choose something that's original. Do movies now.
Yeah, I was saying how when you were gone, I was saying how we hadn't done movies.
You don't have to do movies, but
Yeah, I know. Also, I'm gonna do a book, despite the fact that we haven't added books yet, have we?
Okay.
we can
Sarfnic
do.
will not. Fuck.
Just pick something that we haven't done yet.
Actually,
Sarge.
we have done a movie. We've done the Lorax kick.
Yeah, I know. So pick something we haven't done, like in this episode.
Okay. Sarfnic chooses the Martian. There you go.
Martian. Ooh. Okay. Just give me a moment.
Set stage.
Very nice. Okay, Star nominated The Martian. Story of the Martian is very good. I am a sucker for survival story.
I watched it in February, by the way. or
Big fan of
rewatched it.
Castaway.
It's good.
A big fan of Life of Pi. This takes both of those and adds sci-fi into the mix. I say sci-fi. It's realistic. It's very, very,
Very
realistic.
scientifically accurate. Yeah.
Particularly in the specific actions that they have the character go through. Now, story itself, getting to Mars, having something go catastrophically wrong, being the last of thy crew there, for various reasons. I believe they escape, if I remember the story correctly, but their arc is put on the back burner. You've got the Martian, and he's a botanist by training. So a hard sci fellow like myself with a penchant for flora, also like myself, uses his knowledge of chemistry and engineering to grow potatoes and shit and try to survive. The back burner of the story is his all psycholytic experience, his family back on Earth, all the traditional shit. That's not what makes the story good. You could remove half of the other arcs and have his story still be fine. Story of the Martian is an S. Characters of the Martian are not memorable. This is unlucky because they split the attention so much between the main and other arcs. It didn't do what Castaway would have done with Hanky Boy or Life of Pi for the titular character. Characters were not bad. There were some good supporting characters, particularly acted by Benedict Wong. I think it was a very good supporting actor. Characters fine. A. Writing and acting. Acting was largely quite good. The writing was to be expected. Not a ton sticks out to me. I'm gonna give this an A. Visuals. As live action goes, visuals were really, really good. They didn't have a ton of super demanding stuff, but I really liked the design that they went for the habitat. How they did Mars was very good. This is going to be hard to explain, but simulated certain features of space, if you will, was very good, particularly when they do depressurization. They did that better than most would. Visuals in this are an S. Unimportant, but an S. Direction of this was standard, but good. I feel like they poured a bit more effort into the whole writing acting thing. I didn't mind how they jumped from scene to scene, though, and that's basically half of what direction is. The other half of direction being what actually takes place in the scenes. I like how they use his video logs as a sort of interface. I don't like the distribution between the arcs. I think it should have focused more on him, even though the majority of it already does. Yeah, direction's fine. I'll give the direction an A. Or sound design. Sound design was fantastic and realistic, and also the lack of sound in some instances was quite realistic. I appreciate that on a psi level. The score was good, but not memorable. This is fine. I'll give it an A. Uniqueness. Like I said before, you don't often have a survival in space tale that goes very realistic and somehow remains interesting. I'm going to give the uniqueness of this, based on how rational it is against other survivors' tales, an S. Refinement. This was a high-budget film. The refinement was fantastic. The cuts were fine. All their post-processing was really, really good. The refinement, as with any major studio, should be classifiable as a KEK because it is top of the line. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, nominated Martian. Warcries, what do you think?
An E. I'm generally behind with most movies. I'm not very experienced when it comes to most movies. My movie knowledge is behind, so any.
Sarge.
The Sard doesn't really have any objections, but the Sard has seen this movie twice. It is basically scientifically accurate, stunningly scientifically accurate. I guess another one that goes along that line is Interstellar, which I was supposed to see, but thank you, fucking coronavirus.
Interstellar is not very good.
But basically, it's scientifically accurate. But there were a few things. The main, actually, one of the main problems of the film is how the main character, got lost because of a windstorm, which wouldn't happen on Mars. That doesn't happen. I guess the second thing is also radiation would be a problem when traveling interplanetary travel. But other than that, it's perfectly fine. I think the movie's great, and it's super scientifically accurate, so good.
I'm going to give this movie an S-, I think.
Music fits like a Mars theme. Warcries has been on. Like it.
Sard nominated The Martian. Warcries, your third subject.
That was a fast nomination, by the way. Fast review.
So I am going to nominate our first political one. I'll rate this more as a do some politics, but try to rate it more of a personality. And just general agreement.
Could be the Orange Man
over politics, because I don't want to get too much into politics here. I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, we've done any politics.
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro, another entity. Let me go ahead and set the stage.
Shen Papiro time.
Warcries nominates Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is incredibly relevant, particularly to the present-day phase of the literal god. I went through a phase where I was absolutely obsessed with him. He was one of my gateways into modern politics. I'd always had a thing for politics, but Ben Shapiro was one of the ones who kept me apprised of the major names in today's industry of politics. I'm going to say the relevance to the literal god. I've kept up with him for years. I've kept up with him better than I've kept up with some IRL people that I should be keeping up with. Normally, this would be enough for a KEK. He has, via proxy, introduced me to other people that sap more of my time now. I'm going to say the relevance of Ben Shapiro, and he and I are quite different people. I'm going to say the relevance to the literal god is an S. Philosophical merit of Ben Shapiro. Guy has some good philosophical ideas, I believe. He reads a ton, which doesn't necessarily amp it, but he's clear through his diction. He's very well spoken, that he at least took the good pieces of a lot of these readings. Also, he himself is a pretty good writer. I've read 3 of his books now: Bullies, The People vs. Barack Obama, and Right Side of History, I believe.
Right, it's his whole name.
All of which were quite good.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro.
Philosophical merit of Ben Shapiro.
Love him a lot. Not love him, but like I like him.
I'm gonna give it an S. The rational merit of Ben Shapiro is where he shines. I actually got into politics originally because of policy, not because of ideology. And it was not me co-opting things from Ben Shapiro, but learning the numbers and how to engineer my own policies was very strongly attached to people like Ben Shapiro, who he would have considered as taking a hint from Milton Friedman, those types, the free market types. Their rationale cannot be questioned. Meme potential of Ben Shapiro, I should not have to say this is obviously a keck. The WAP video alone would be able to catapult Ben Shapiro's meme potential into a keck. Granted, it was made by Grande, and granted, it was a parody, but aren't all memes at some level? Meme potential of Ben Shapiro is a keck. The personal approval of Ben Shapiro, believe it or not, has waned a little bit. It's just in my nature to be a bit more sanguine as opposed to reserved as Ben Shapiro presents himself. This isn't a bad thing, however. There is a point where too measured and too pessimistic, too cynical becomes a bit too much. And yet he'll sometimes call people out for being overly cynical about the American political system. I don't agree with his faith in it. And I don't agree with his faith as a broad stroke. I mean, I'm not exactly an Orthodox Jew, but I don't even think if I were part of any religion, utilitarianism of the Jew religion aside, that I would be that zealous, but yet as reserved as he is in form of speech. I'm going to give the personal approval here an S. We share a lot of pros, we share a lot of ideas. We use a little bit different rationale to get there. That's good enough for me. Warcries, you nominated Ben Shapiro. Sarfnic, what do you think?
I do agree that the meme potential is a K. I really have no objections. Your opinions are your opinions. I don't know how to sway your opinions on Ben Shapiro. You probably know a lot better than me. But I just want to mention, he is kind of one of the literal gods. I'd put him up there.
I would consider him
His
so.
laser eyes. I honestly kind of subtract points. I do think that a lot of his video titles are too, like, Ben Shapiro destroys guitars. I don't like when he overuses that.
Ben Shapiro destroys things. He's made that now, and he's acknowledged it.
Can I make it clear? He's actually made possible. That's his marketing team. He often does get action. He talked to them about it. There was one time in which he's discussed this, in which he actually made someone cry when he debunked them, and he went and had coffee and stuff with them after, and told them specifically not to upload this video because or the marketing team, because of shit like that.
I think he's a good man. Yeah. I think he's
there's nothing
sometimes, but yeah.
I have something to say.
Hey, how's it going, dude? It's
I
going
can
well.
see my time to work right.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, you got what, 3 employees? So in my offices, we have like 80, and I have 5 million Facebook followers. My wife's a doctor, and I feel like that's more empowering than like. Dude, I have like millions of people who are members of my audience. That's due to American racism. No, you stupid. Any societal structure that results in a racial inequality is itself racist. I've been doing this for legitimately more than half my life. I'm 35.
Yes, it's Shen Shapiro versus Ben Shapiro on Dave Rubin.
Is attributable to a system that was rooted in slavery.
I can completely agree with Shen Shapiro here.
Ben Shapiro is an S+ human. Perhaps, if he were willing to do something else, like run for office and actually become a more firebranded individual.
I think you should.
I would easily elevate him to a keck because the personal approval would rise from an S to a keck. Not that I don't respect him. Obviously, he's still an S for being the humble journalist. But,
if he were to run, I wouldn't be surprised. He would probably get. I wouldn't be surprised if he got more votes than Trump with the correct marketing team.
He alienates white voters too much. But that's beside the point.
He alienates. I haven't done much research on how much he alienates.
He doesn't alienate a ton.
Trump alienates much more than Ben.
But that doesn't mean he would get more votes. It means fewer votes would be cast against him.
Yeah, it would be with the marketing team, though. And fewer votes being cast against him, that just helps with people realizing the left tech as well. Realizing what's going on the other side instead of just hating one side.
Human. Borderline keck human. I have my qualms. Warcries nominated Ben Shapiro. Sard, what you got for me?
From one literal god to the next. You dare deny my two. I was excited to see you rate Garmadon. I was excited to see you rate Everneth. Now you will be punished, Mr. Beast.
Okay, I thought it was Dream.
No.
Oh, so you're
not yet.
Me now.
You must rate another literal god, Mr. Beast.
Warcries summoned the image. Sarfnic is nominated Mr. Beast.
You a 10-year-old. You a 10-year-old woman.
All right, I'm getting you in a VC with Koot right now. Okay.
Excellent. Oh wait, he can't come in himself because he's banned for
Yeah, that's
hacking.
the point.
Oh,
Pog moment.
Hoot scum. Let's
I'm playing a game. End your stream. I'm getting.
Oh no, he's adding Covert.
You a 10-year-old. You a 10-year-old woman.
Okay, dude,
You a
end the stream.
10-year-old.
And dude, no one cares about your
about
rating,
Mr.
bro.
Beast.
No one cares about
cares
Mr.
about-
Beast. Your opinion on him.
You a
Yeah,
10
no one cares about
I agree.
Mr. Beast
You
or
a
Minecraft or
10-year-old.
whatever.
You a 10-year-old. You know?
End your stream.
Will you shut up, man?
Will you shut up, man? What do you think?
The Eisen Index is a top tier series that we
No,
must.
it's not.
fact
No,
check
it's
true.
not.
Politico
How many-
says this is
Okay,
wrong,
end the
therefore it
stream.
must be true.
Who watches your guys' thing other than you guys?
Yeah, that's it. No one
I'm
else.
Fuck him,
serious.
Sarf.
How
Fuck
many
him,
viewers
Sarf.
do you guys
Keep
have?
streaming.
Who
You do
watches
you,
your
Sarfnic. You're a
CS:GO
strong,
game other than
independent woman who don't
people
need no
know?
man.
There you go.
What is your average views on your
Yeah,
stream?
how much-
Negative 41.
How
I
many
think
viewers
it's
do you average?
reasonable that Surf should be able to stream with the internet that they collectively own. It's not specifically Koot, so fuck off.
No, but it's nighttime. I need to tell this. I keep telling this dude that nighttime is when I play.
Grubber Offensive!
Yeah, bro. It's more important
Wait,
than
no,
what
guys, how many viewers do you
I
average?
don't understand,
Does
Koot.
anyone watch?
Well,
Coot, you
whatever,
don't
I-
understand, man.
Okay, so
Coot, listen, man. Counter-Strike, real shit game. Let a kid stream,
this
okay?
guy's-
Yo,
listen, you
I'm
prefer
trying
Valorant.
to reduce myself to your level.
God.
I'm not sure I know the street diction all that well.
You probably prefer Valorant, my guy.
Wait,
No,
how
I
many
hate
viewers
both
do you
of
guys
them.
average though? Actually,
He has 300 subs. I'm not sure what his average is. You'd have to ask.
no,
Yo,
Three
yo,
no,
subs,
I'm
dude.
talking about
Yo.
like live viewers.
Just let the
I'm
man
not
stream. Yo. What up? Yawn, street meat.
All right,
We have
I'm gonna.
index.
When I come back, the stream's gonna be over, so don't mind me.
Yeah, Koot's gonna end the stream right now. Like,
I'm
Kill
gonna
him.
come back, the stream's over.
now.
he already asked nicely. Like
Guys,
Koot's literally
you guys,
walking in
you
like
guys
here
can
and
record if you.
Take
you
up
guys, no
arms.
one's watching. I'm
Will
gonna
you
check the
join
stream.
in our
If there's more than-
crusade? Who will
If
be
more than
strong
3
and
viewers,
stand
then
with
you
me?
can keep streaming.
Beyond the barricade is there a world you long
Yes,
to
guys.
see?
Koot has a deal. Wait, listen.
If there's more than 3 viewers, I'm leaving. Oh wait, there's only 2 viewers.
Aramus,
Sorry.
get the family
Yeah.
on right now. Get the
You guys
family
don't-
on.
Kill him, Sarfnic.
Even hold
Kill
three
him
numbers.
now.
Get the family on.
All right, goodbye. Thank you.
There are
Well,
less
I'm gonna try.
people watching. this
Let's see if this
stream
ping
than
is just a
there are
server
friends.
issue. I'm gonna give it 1 more minute here.
What? All right, let's go back to the call.
Friends, maybe we all can play Minecraft one day, and maybe we should
myself.
revive the SMP one day.
Commit to die,
Oh, yeah,
hacker.
from that or something.
Scum.
Oh, wait, I'm permanently banned too for no reason.
Be
so-
gone, thoughts.
No reason is-
You have no power here.
All right, shall we resume with the Eisen Index?
Dare question the sacred indices of the literal fucking god. We shall resume.
There we go. I think we got him there. I hope you enjoyed my psycho salad at the end.
Yes, like
I just started mic spamming so that no one could talk.
what a great meme. Someone bring up Psycho Salad to review. It's excellent. It'll be our first in the music category. So,
I
Mr.
can't wait
Beast.
to in the video.
Sarfnic nominated Mr. Beast. The only relevance that Mr. Beast had to me is a product of one of two things. One, Mr. Beast running in the same circles that some of my favored YouTubers, for instance, PewDiePie, Disguised Toast, Markiplier, they all ran kind of in similar circles, particularly with the T-Series war. That Mr. Beast played a very large part in that. Relevance to the literal got his name. The second source that I would be hearing about Mr. Beast constantly from would be Sard. Unfortunate. The philosophical merit of Mr. Beast. I do appreciate those who simply throw money at random things for the experience of it. This fundamentally resonates very, very well with me. However, I don't like it when people claim him a moral Puritan on a philosophical level when he does a couple things for a couple trees and then spends bunches of money on a bunch of random shit. If he wanted that kind of moral Puritan status, then he would spend it all on like alms for the poor or some shit. I don't know. The philosophical merit of Mr. Beast, I can't really judge it too much because there's not substance there. He's a wanderer, an explorer type, and personal approval would like that. The philosophical merit is not great. We'll give him a B. The rational merit of Mr. Beast. This guy ping-pongs back and forth between doing things that are perfectly sound and things that are completely insane. The definition of insanity is not doing all of your things unsoundly or foolhardily or doing only foolhardy things. It's doing them randomly.
Or just doing the same thing that doesn't work over and over.
Right, that's the formal definition of insanity. And if you extrapolate that to trying random experiences just for the experience, like, put it this way. Philosophically, one of my goals is to absorb everything there is about the human experience, so I don't miss anything, right? That's part of the literal god's apotheosis, shall we say. Mr. Beast, I feel like, is kind of aiming for that, but even I got priorities, man. Rational merit of Mr. Beast. No, rational merit of Mr. Beast is a D. The meme potential of Mr. Beast is quite strong. He runs in good circles with a lot of my favorite meme lords. Grande.
You have to contest. You have to contest that.
For instance, there's a lot of good meme lords that he runs in circles with. He makes some good memes on occasion. It's fine. We'll give the meme potential of Mr. Beast an A. Personal approval of Mr. Beast. I don't got much against Mr. Beast. What I have against Mr. Beast is a product most likely of his fan base. He provided military aid to the correct side of a major war. So, at the same time, knowing the value of $1, I question his utility of that. Like, he does some stuff for good causes, sure. He does some stuff for randomity. The reason his rational merit is so low is because he does both. I'm not sure how he balances this, and therefore it marks him as a loose cannon in my book. Yes, I know, me being the epitome of disorder is not the same as being random. Personal approval, because of his military support, will be B. Sard, you nominated this. Warcries, what do you think?
Okay, I'm going to target two things with one argument.
Okay.
Philosophical, personal. So, he throws money at things, obviously. Mm-hmm. You've mentioned this. He throws money at good things, very often, as well as bad things, random things.
Right. If you pack enough buckshot into one cart, you're going to hit everything.
My point is the reason he gives. I don't think this should go into rational because it's still doing something for. I think rational is just doing something or doing the right cause for any reason really, as long as it has a reason. Here, the reason is not philosophical in nature. It used to be because he genuinely cared, but I think a very little part of him genuinely cares about throwing money now. It's mostly just fucking throwing money for the sake of throwing money and getting views for it. That's why I dislike him. He's just made it into he's made himself into a view cow. And I think that goes into personal approval and philosophical.
That would either be a neutral or an increase for me in that case, because it means he's seizing on the capitalistic foolhardiness of everyone around him.
Yeah, I agree that should include his rational. It shouldn't improve, or it should improve his rational, but not his philosophical. And that
the problem is, I don't know if I can impute his motive. I'm not actually confident that I can impute his motive.
It's not a good motive. It's just his other philosophical things.
Yeah,
up to his philosophical.
It's Warcries time,
which I don't think it should be up.
I want to say I want to change that loose cannon shit.
I'm going to hold on this. Sarfnic, I know you have a lot of opinionated thoughts about Mr. Beast. Yes. Come forth.
So first off, the rational merit. I believe this idea is mostly very low because he's a loose cannon, and you can't get his... can you explain why it's so low again? I think know why it's so low. So
rational merit of Mr. Beast I consider degenerate because of his random spread of things. Now, if he is eccentric and very, very open to experience, that's different than being irrational. Some of the things, if you're an explorer type and if you value experience, or if you even value the entertainment of the crowd, randomness isn't the surefire there. That's a lucky thing, and he does it well. I think he's grown a little bit into that. But why be there in the first place?
So I believe that Mr. Beast is, despite losing his main values, like Warcries argues, is gotten himself to a really good place in the YouTube spectrum.
But you acknowledge that he forfeits those values. You agree with Warcries.
I agree that he forfeits his old values. but I
Okay,
think
that's
it's
fine. It's
overall
not going to
better
change my
than
opinion
his-
because I don't care about those. But yeah.
I prefer him to do. I prefer his new content to his old content, even if his old
Okay.
content was more meaningful. His new
Okay.
content is more entertaining and more, I guess, tweaked to what YouTube enjoys. And not even to mention his. Should we even count his second channel as well, Mr. Beast Gaming? In this?
As it's a result of the person that we're judging, sure.
Which is quite. I think it's good. As he also gives. He literally he runs a Discord, and he gives. Discord has a good 200,000 members at the moment.
Running a
I'm not
Discord's not hard.
Oh, 900. It has 1 million members, and
Sorry.
anyone in there has a chance of getting in the challenge. I got in the challenge, dude. I got into a challenge. So I
Yes,
think that
that's
is a good
definitely
work.
a
That is a
reason
good
that I should
reward.
get
That's a
Mr.
good rewarding system to his fan base. I mean,
Sard, you entered a sweepstakes that was luck-based.
it's luck based, but it still rewards around 100 of his fans per week. And in my opinion, that's a good thing. And he also creates. And I guess, and he literally said the main purpose of his gaming channel is just to gain extra revenue so he can spend more money on his main channel,
Yeah.
which is good.
He actually admits to it.
Yeah.
His
and
his honesty there is
look, I have
is a
to-
bit
I just remembered something.
of a.
He also he posted this on Twitter like I think about a year ago. He said his main goal. You know this is fucking bullshit, but like his main goal in life is to give away as much money as possible and
Yeah.
help the world make it a better
Okay,
place.
bring up that
I mean-
tweet. Bring up that tweet.
And
Yeah,
yet
if you can
again,
get that, I'd say
even then,
lower.
I do
That's
think
a
he
philosophical.
did. Okay, adding
Bring
on
up the tweet.
some more shit.
Do
he
it.
He did.
Bring up the tweet. The
Okay.
literal God commands that you bring forth this evidence. You're
while
being
I
subpoenaed.
bring forth this evidence, I will also explain that he did promote team trees to a point that even Elon Musk donated, like, a good million for it.
Elon Musk did not donate to fucking Team Trees because of Mr. Beast. What is that? Elon Musk donates to all sorts of other
But
shit.
it's not. A,
Elon Musk donates to random shit and does
Yeah.
random shit. But there is a method behind
there is
him. He's an
literal-
architect at heart.
yes, but it was literally
That's
just
the
because
difference.
Mr. Beast pinged him and he asked Mr. Beast about it, and that's how he donated.
Yes,
millions.
but here's the question. If Mr. Beast hadn't have done that, you can't predict what Mr. Beast would have used that funds for. Elon Musk, you definitely could, and Elon Musk probably would have used it for something similar.
Okay, so sadly,
Elon
sorry,
Musk has a method to his madness. Mr.
it's-
Beast does not.
like Mr.
Or he
Beast,
pretends to, which is...
I found it.
You found it. It's not his pinned one. I don't think it's his pinned one.
Really took one.
Send word.
Bunch of money and give it all his way, doing as much possible
Yeah,
before I
Warcries
die. I
is
don't
nice.
want to live a meaningless life. I want to make an impact and be... Altruistic, high horse fucking prick. Dime a dozen. Take this and be glad I don't reduce this to a cringe. Because he is such a chaotic individual,
Man,
we're
mention
done
one more
here.
thing. Mention something. Despite the fact that you said we're done here. Sard, I think, like, sure.
I was
I dislike him. But the reason I'm so pissed, like, if you mention him, like, once in a blue moon, I wouldn't care. The reason I'm so
I'm actually
pissed
going to
is that-
increase the rational merit to a C.
Yeah, I agree with that. The reason I'm so pissed is because of how often you mention it, and that's why I get so pissed here.
I also
still
want
dislike
to
a
send
lot
a
of him,
video
but still.
to Aramus that is a very good Mr. Beast parody. I'm gonna send it in the air warning. You guys have sent it here before, but you need to watch that whenever you have time. It is fucking hilarious.
Here, decide. Oh my God.
I'm going to stick with the D plus because rational merit and philosophical merit are infinitely more important than any of the other ones right now. Particularly personal approval.
I'm gonna add on some more. It's not gonna change your opinion, but I just want to mention overall he does positive. I don't really care if he's doing random shit and selling islands or
Right, that's one of my personal approvals. I don't care.
Rational.
He's a random, calculatable force of nature,
sub.
and he is just in there. He's just in there. He's just there. I could give a damn.
Thanks for subbing, my man. Actually,
D
been a while
plus.
since I've had a sub on.
Sard nominated
Alright,
Mr. Beast. We've had 2 people in a row now. Warcries. This will be your 4th topic of the night, I believe.
So, I'm gonna do. Sard hasn't experienced this, but he won't anytime soon because he's Sard and refuses to experience good shit. Aragon, or the Inheritance Cycle as a series. Sorry.
The Inheritance Cycle.
But
Wait
I was
on the
gonna do
books.
okay. I was gonna do a book. You wanna add a
I'm going to go ahead and make a book section. All right, boys. get yourself your image war. We're adding, just now, quantifying the new topic of books to the Eisen index. Get yourself your images. Yes. Okay. So, the inheritance
Ooh, are those
cycle.
dragons? Cool.
Let's start off with the relevance to the literal god here, actually. This is one of the largest keks I will ever have given.
Wait. Is start here.
I'm always here, Warcries.
Okay, good.
This is probably the largest kek of relevance to the literal god I've ever given. I have been either reading or listening to these fucking books pretty much on loop since I was, I want to say, 6. I know Aragon was the very first audiobook I ever listened to.
I gotta read this, man. When
Put
he
that
asks me
one.
what I think, I'm listening. I gotta read this.
It got me addicted to fucking audiobooks that lasts to this day. Maybe that explains the ASMR thing. I don't know.
It'll be a
Whatever.
college project one day,
The
probably.
story of the inheritance cycle. Traditional fantasy
Yeah,
world,
ASMR.
scaled down to a 15-year-old's writing style that is way above the normal skill of a 15-year-old.
Again, yeah.
You can see his writing style evolve with the books. I don't generally like that, but improvement is better than stagnation. It wasn't bad to begin with. The actual arc of the story does get a little confusing at times. It's hard to tell where he's going with it. I don't think he knew when he wrote Aragon where he wanted this thing to end. Fills out very well in the last two, though. I'm going to give the story of this. This is borderline between A and S. We'll give the story an S, but it's going to get docked when it comes to uniqueness. Characters are largely fine. They end up splitting the narrative arc in the second book, I believe, to accommodate an audience that would prefer a second character to the first. I like that generally. The multiple points of view is way better for a thing like this. He went after the one storyline in the first book and then pulled the Game of Thrones in the second plus and split it. He did the split very well. Characters, let's go through a couple of specific ones. The supporting characters are better than the main characters. The main characters that I would say that get either S or Kek would be in this order. Saphira, we can give Brahm an S, even though he was kind of a side character post book one. We'll give Murtagh a. Give Aragon an A. Give Roran an S. Roran's a really good arc. We'll give what's her face there? Ajahad's daughter, whose name I can't ever remember.
Sueda?
Nasawada, yes. We'll give her an S, potentially a Kek. The characters are solid, but their supporting characters are better. There are several Kek supporting characters.
Arya.
Arya is a supporting character, I would classify her as, and she is a Kek. Auric, Kek. You can even go as far as Ajahad, Kek. Angela, Mega Kek. Who else we got here? Aramus and Glader, Kek and Kek. Epic name for the mentor of Aragon, of course. Who else we got here?
Who's the king of Turntime?
Bloodgarm, Kek. Hrothgar, Kek.
Oh yeah, Hrothgar.
Even some of the quasi-villains. The villains are where this storyline lacks. You have big bad Galbatorix. You have tiny little mini villains, Durza and the twins. You have quasi-villain Murtagh Thorn, who end up...
Murtagh are fairly good villains.
Right, they're anti-heroes is what that is. Yeah, villains are kind of shit. Villains are shit now that I'm looking at it. Huh. We'll give the characters a very, very borderline AS
Forgot the heroes.
writing style. This introduced me to high fantasy. Now that I have other things to cast him against, I am very impressed with Paolini's writing style, and more importantly, we'll get to this later, the refinement of Paolini. For a 15-year-old? I'm going to take this objectively because he's cast against Martin, he's cast against Tolkien, he's cast against the Narnia boy, whose name shall not be spoken because I hate him so much. You can cast him against Rowling, you can cast him against Salvatore, you can cast him against all the writers on Elminster, and he holds up. He doesn't crush them, but he holds up in both writing style and sensory description. He's a very strong vocabulary. Perhaps even on par with me at 15. Vocabulary was always my strongest intellectual strength, by the way. So that is a gigantic compliment for me. I don't know that there's anyone who at age 15 I would acknowledge had a comparable or superior vocabulary to me. I really like his writing style, particularly when it comes not to dialogue. There are several scenes that stick out. So the uniqueness of this, traditional high fantasy after the dawn of high fantasy. It's a good rendition of high fantasy like any others, but it's high fantasy. Horses, forces, magic, swords, dragons. That's it. It's a good rendition. The refinement is basically going to go along the same as the writing style here. The refinement as a function of improvement, though, I quite like. The fact that he was able to juggle multiple storylines past the first book when it was so heavily focused on them, but still keep the main arc interesting, is very reminiscent of what happened in Castlevania. I'm a sucker for those. I like those. S. Ward, you nominated this. Sarf, are you any on this?
I do have one thing to say.
Okay.
I probably will read this during my my college days when I have time.
Okay.
Or maybe even next summer. I don't know. I'll probably just read one of the books. I'm gonna start.
Okay.
At some point. That's all I know. Aragon, right? Is that like?
Yeah, that's the
Aragon
first one.
First book.
Okay.
If you look at the side there, blue dragon Saphira is Aragon. Second dragon, I'm not going to name the rest for lore purposes.
Yeah.
Second one Eldest, third one Brissinger, and fourth one Inheritance.
Which was originally going to be called Empire and feature Shrukin on the front of it.
Okay. Well, that's all the literal God 2.0 has to say.
So.
Okay.
Characters. First of all, characters. I agree with you for the most part on this. I think Murtag kind of brings the villains up because I like his anti-hero vibe.
True.
Other than that,
But he's an anti-hero, not a villain.
Yeah, I like this isn't the direct villain, but I like what happens to Aragon from Durza and sort of the nightmares he has and the PTSD.
Yep.
I like that.
I'm irritated that they just discarded him after one book and made him as an afterthought and all the rest.
Ram's death was super fucking sad. You developed a
Lore spoilers, and yes.
Yeah. Let's see here. I guess I'll go on. But I would like to say Roran was fucking the Roran storyline in book 2.
The Roran storyline was the single best arc.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was really good.
Not close.
Refinement refinement's already an S, so that was an A. I don't know why. So I think characters, yeah, high A, borderline S. Writing style, I can agree there. I think you don't want to take into account his age. Otherwise, things would be much higher.
I mean, keep in mind, I am casting him against titans of the industry. I'm casting him first and foremost against the Grand Tribunal.
You're just taking age out of the question.
R.R. Martin and Tolkien here.
Yeah.
All three of whom would register as check. Martin would register as S to me.
So, I'm going to pretty much agree with you here. Uniqueness, I agree. Dragon trope is slightly off from the normal. I like what they did with the dragons. I like what they did with the offland islands, but that's not to do with uniqueness. Like most things, which actually, it's always in the mainland. For example, Tolkien. It's always other than the more obscure books like Silmarillion. You're not gonna go anywhere there. It doesn't even get mentioned once, I think, in the actual main storyline.
Martin and Salvatore do a much better job of this, but this is because Salvatore writes in a realm. The Forgotten Realms has been developed by dozens of authors.
Dying Lands. I don't think it was mentioned except for the very end, really, when he sails to it, but it's still not mentioned properly. Things like that, extremely important things, not mentioned. They did a much better job here with that. They went to I forget what it's called now. Let me get the Aragon map open. Pure beer.
What, Illyria?
Is it? Vrongard. They went to Vrongard and Donna. What? I cannot see it here from this distance. Dora Araba is really good. I like Dora Araba. What they did with that.
It was a very good thing.
What's going? I don't understand.
You've read TFW.
At least Warframe, I had some ideas.
TFW, I guess. But
I'm including that in this, by the way.
I like what they did with the land there. I like the short stories in that a lot.
Yeah.
There was one little offland bit which they didn't include, but I like the vortex. Yeah, I like the vortex.
If there's nothing else.
I just like what they did a lot with this. I pretty much have no objections. I just kind of went over it a lot.
An S minus. That sound good?
I'd say an F personally, but yeah.
An S minus. Sword! Come forth and nominate something good.
The Sard insists that Everneth shall be reviewed under the
Sard-
Entities
Wait,
tab.
stop. You already have something else planned for Minecraft-related shit, so no.
No, I don't.
Already-
Not for this stream, no.
you
We're
planned for
trying
this-
to outline all of the things so we have good things to cast them against. If you blow your load all on Everneth, we won't have anything to cast it against.
Blow your load.
So-
Sorry.
What do you... I really wanted to review it today. Get it
Right.
done.
Well,
So you deny permanently then. Okay. In that case,
not perfectly. We keep pushing the issue. I just might.
Sarfnic has decided to allow you to review Yurimonte as an entity.
Yurimonte. It's an interesting call. Not what I would have made, but okay. And I do want to keep these relatively recognizable to open audiences, not just Hearthland. These are Hearthland cultural pillars, not just pillars.
I mean,
of
we
Hearth.
did just discuss
But
Hearth Season 5 earlier this
I
week,
will
so
permit. I will permit Yurimonte.
He's an Everneth and Hearth Season 5 person, for those audience members who do not know this.
Warcries, go get an image.
Get.
Fucking Ian. Discord, I care.
Skin.
You have not any... I have a screenshot of Yurimonte. I can give me a minute.
He is a good dude. He was against me in several wars, but he and I never really detested each other. The relevance to the literal god. He and I have crossed paths several times, but never really been set on the same path. He's a B. Philosophical merit of Yurimonte, surprisingly deep dude. The fact that he is very, very honorable, I consider laughable, but philosophically worthy of analysis. Philosophical merit of Yurimonte gets an A. He's taught me several profound lessons. Big proxy. Rational merit of Yurimonte. Like I said, he gets docked here where he succeeds in philosophy. Honor. There is no honor in fighting for what the Astergard propaganda team would tell you is Hitler.
To be fair,
Yeah.
Aramus, he agreed, or after the war ended, he was saying he fucking hated being there and he would have preferred being with us
Well, then why didn't he come and join us?
because he was bound by honor.
D.
So it's kind of, yeah, I see what you mean there.
Meme potential. Yurimonte is a pretty down-to-earth dude. He runs in good circles for meme potential, but he doesn't attract memes. He just happens to be at the right place at the right time. This is going to go exactly along what I feel the middle line of Yurimonte is because there's not a lot of data on this. It's going to be B.
This is where he's gonna skyrocket.
Approval of Yurimonte is exceptional because I don't have much stake in him succeeding. My personal approval of Warcries' altruism brought him downwards from a keck. However, my personal approval of Yurimonte's altruism, because I have no stake in him, actually increases him in my view. We're going to give Yurimonte an S in personal approval. He was one of the few decent humans on Earth, very mature, all things told, very understanding, but doesn't get heated. He is very inured to that sort of thing at this point, particularly because he, dwells with Sard on the regular. Sarfnic, you nominated Yurimonte. Ward, do you have anything you want to change?
I'm assuming honor would go into personal approval and philosophical merit, which is why those two are high. I can agree with you on siding with Sard. Siding with Sard in the first place, to be fair, he didn't know.
Stay mad.
Hey, I can't, if it's just from up here, I think it can bring his rational merit up from the standpoint that he wanted a challenge, because he knew we were skilled as well. Yeah, I can agree there. I see.
He's going to make that change anyway.
Yeah. If you could do negative, obviously like minuses in here, I'd probably do a very borderline B minus C plus, but we can't here, so I'm gonna agree with you in this case. Other than that, pretty much good. Yeah.
Sorry, you nominated this, but what do you think?
Yurimonte is a Chad. He saw in the Lorax what the Astrogard and the Cult of Nyx didn't. He saw that the trees were worth preserving. And honestly, to be honest, outside of the roleplay, he just wanted to help me out, I also do want to give him some credit outside of Hearth for the Everness shit. How he basically just kind of looked at our situation and thought like an intellectual. I also like to give him some credit. I think this one's more important than what I said previously. The rest of that was kind of shit. But he actually checked me when I needed checking a lot of times. For example, private property.
True.
I'd raise his rational merit for that.
That's why I
to a
want
B.
his rational merit. Like,
And
B,
also a lot of other things, like when I claimed that 2020 was the worst year for it since the 2000s. Since 2000.
Both
which
times.
I
I
had to
noticed whenever
correct.
we argued with, or whenever he argued with you, I was always ganging up with him. I don't think I ever actually disagreed with him on something properly.
He's
in
like an
terms
older
of-
brother to the Lorax. He's still gonna help me out, but he's gonna check me when I
always
need
I
to
was
check.
arguing.
So yeah, I'd raise whatever that would amount to, for sure, by one letter
I
at least.
always do it. It was so
Sarfnic, all your points are good here, and they happen to be ones that I thought through when I amped the rational merit and considered amping the philosophical merit. Overall rating of Yurimonte. Let's think here.
Better be a B or some shit. That's not expected. Oh,
minus.
it's even better.
If I were to get to know her, I'm sure this would skyrocket. That was a quick one. Sarfnic nominated Yurimonte. What prize? Is this your 5th?
Is that my 5th? I think it is, yes. So, I'm going to take a moment of consideration here. We'll do the boys.
Boys. Okay. Boys.
Sarfnic
Fantastic.
approves.
Cheeries.
I want to listen to season 2. I've seen season 2, but I watched season 1 in August, and I watched season 2 in like October and November. Sarfnic requests a quick 2-minute biohydro. Is the little god approved?
Poked by the sword.
I'm from Maliyuan, so I'm pretty good at this stuff.
5-minute biohydro because we don't cut corners here. If you gotta piss and piss well and piss long.
Okay.
5 minutes there, Aramus.
I'm not gonna question how the little god lives his life, okay?
Your teacher has been very mad at you, Aramus.
He's already gone. Dude, fucking Yuri was on the stream. Bruh. Dang, I'm trying to find a good
I'm back.
War, are you covering the logo? Because I was gonna do a butcher one.
I got it.
Okay, yeah, I covered. Okay. Yuri was on the stream, by the way.
Oh,
Sorry, I
champ.
missed them.
You have had the great honor of being indexed into the sacred Eisen Index. Welcome. Your knowledge is welcome here.
He's still here?
I don't know how long
Devoted
ago it was.
viewers.
No, he's not.
Oh, was he there for his indexing?
He said overall rating definitely a K plus, but I don't know when it's from. I don't know when it's from. I hope it was for him though, because I checked the chat like after every
can look-
index, so it could have been him.
You can look at 1048. 1048. It was during his.
Oh, GG's. GG's. It's almost as if he was pinged that we were reviewing him. Warcries? Do you have any part in this?
No, I didn't. He just came.
This comes as...
The Boys. Warcries has nominated The Boys.
By the way, is Art seen season 2?
The story. What's that?
Have you seen season 2?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we all have.
I am that I would not see season 2. Ooh, the Prey ambient OST. I know that anywhere. Shit's terrifying. Skip this shit. It's not meant to be terrifying. It's meant to be a fun public debate. A profound public debate. Like, imagine if we get to fucking
There's a lot of
Typhon
murder.
voices. That soundtrack is terrifying.
There's a lot of murder, though, in this show. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure every episode someone
No!
dies. So, like, not gonna lie. It's
Fuck
kinda
you,
creepy.
Warcries.
Let's go. Come on.
No, seriously.
No. Okay.
I mean, if there were ever a show to... well, Boys is a little too mimetic for that.
Mind
Or
if
for
I-
some Tolkienian shit.
Oh, mind if I just go... How short is this? I think it's short. I do not like this music much.
Just do the fucking rating.
I agree with Sard. The story of The Boys is quite nice. All over the place, very chaotic, but the way that the lore just wends its way forward, no matter how fucked up it gets, I am very much a fan. The story of The Boys is one of conflict, revenge, memes, lust, and basically making the case as to why DC should be removed. The characters, one of the best traits of this show. Every character has fucking baggage. Urban's character has his wife basically snatched from him by a big bad villain who ends up having a kid with lore spoilers and whatnot, obviously. If you're watching this review, the spoilers are gonna come hot and fast. But his character is a keck.
Out spoilers.
All of the superheroes have their own fucking issues. Starlight is basically the one last good activist of the Me Too era. A-Train is a druggie, deep as a fucking perv.
Yeah, basically, it's all true.
Everyone in this show has baggage to the point where it almost gets boring, but it doesn't. Most of these characters are either an S or a Kek in one way, shape, or form. But you know who brings it up? Motherfucking Frenchie. Frenchie is a fantastic character. Frenchie is a Kek plus character. Frenchie alone saves him.
The beat drop with the K.
I'll let this go because it goes with the boys well.
Yes.
But
The writing and acting. Urban's acting, all of the protagonists' acting, save, well, the Black Dude's acting's fine too. Starlight's borderline, but she's a simple character. Homelander is portrayed incredibly well.
So much Mimo characters like Black Nor and shit.
All of this is really, really good. The acting is fantastic. The writing can get a little bit memey, but not past the point of reality. It's just because the lore is a little zany and the storylines are a little zany that the writing kind of gets bled into a little bit of zaniness. Writing and acting is an ass. Visuals, simple, very good. Anything with a live action with superheroes should be expected to rely on visuals. The Boys does not, but they still do it well. Therefore, it must go along with the line of everything else that The Boys is because it doesn't really improve or detract from it. S. Direction, screen work, all of these things. I don't have strong feelings about The Boys' direction on this. It has some cool shots. There's no gigantic motifs that I don't love or hate. Score sound design. Not my theme, as you can tell. Thank you, Rhythm Bot. But like I said, it's going to be along the main line. Uniqueness. Watchmen with more humorous, but just as dark. Well, maybe more dark than Watchmen even. Uniqueness of this is fine. It is a parody of the Justice League, which I like parodies. I treat them with deferential respect and uniqueness. Yes. Refinement had a rather strong budget behind it. Jump from season 1 to season 2 is imperceptible. Good stuff. Good stuff. It's going to go along with that main. All of the content for the debate portion of The Boys should be in these first 4. The first 3 even. Your refinement and A. Warcries nominated The Boys. Sarfnic, do you have yet to watch season 2 or are you caught up?
I'm all caught up. Alright, here we
Make
go.
your case against
The
literal
Boys
god.
is a great... It's magnificent, dude. I mean, obviously, it's not really that original. DC kind of had the idea, but it manages to turn itself into its own...
Why it's an S and not a Kek.
Universe. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day it'll be its own cinematic universe. Hopefully not, though. But I mean, I'm guessing the first season wasn't really that high budget-wise, correct?
It wasn't gigantic, and I don't believe it was. I thought it was mid-range.
Despite watching
it doesn't matter.
Despite watching all the seasons that are currently on, I actually don't really have much to say. I mean, I agree. I don't think I can make any good arguments.
Ooh, Sarfnic agreeing with me? Okay.
Why is that surprising?
Yes. Warcries.
I made him watch all the boys. So I'm gonna go through this one by one.
It's a trade
Story. Let's see here. Story's pretty good. I liked how it went. Second season dropped in quality, but it was still very good. It did improve in visuals and overall production quality.
Sorry, there's one more thing that you need to say that I think is worthy enough of interrupting Warcries. Delegate Warcries.
You agreed to the debate rules, Mr. Sarfnic.
Enjoys the parodies. I enjoy characters like Black Nor, who are just, what the fuck? And I actually enjoy the AOC parody character, who's actually very important.
That is so fucking funny.
So I just
it's
wanted to mention that.
Characters is already a Kek. Don't push your luck.
Anyways,
Warcries, continue.
Okay, so next up we have characters. At first I thought it was kind of woke going through it with the AOC shot. What they pulled with it changed my mind. I think it's kept kind of a middling perspective, so I'm fine with that on the terms of wokeness. Characters, there is some plot armor in the last episode. Like, Huey gets fucked by the car, which is reasonable. I fucking loved that when he got absolutely fucked by the flying car. But then they all get absolutely zapped by Stormlight, and they're all just perfectly fine. That's plot armor. It's not that severe, but it still bothers me because
the part of Huey to the hospital was good.
It's clearly something they just didn't care for.
Yeah, sometimes I guess.
But
have a chick who can control electricity, more or less.
Here's the thing: she didn't in that case.
How do you know?
Because
it's automotive.
Her eyes fucking glow. Anyways, on to writing and acting. Writing and acting is... I think I can agree there. Again, second season drops there, but it's still very good. Yeah, I can agree. It's more so the writing that dropped. Acting was good. Visuals were improved with the second season. Direction was always good. Score, it fits what it wants to fit very well. It goes with the style of the show. I dislike the music personally, so I agree with this, keeping a subjective and objective standpoint, both.
It doesn't contribute anything super unique to me.
Yeah, but I feel like they could have been unique with it. But I do like the fact that they actually kept with the style of the show, even if I didn't like the music itself. Uniqueness, I'd probably keep
Big
with
mic
uniqueness.
test, okay,
First, I thought you had an A for some reason, but uniqueness is good considering what they've done with this. It's definitely like you've never really seen someone properly pull this out and have such a unique way of having superheroes the bad guys, and what would normally be the villains as the superheroes.
But somehow making it comedic, yes. The direct parallel to this would be Watchmen.
It's definitely, yeah, exactly. I have not watched Watchmen yet, but I've heard some very...
It is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. You talking about the television series as well, or just the movie?
Television series nowhere near as good as the movie, not even close.
So I should watch the movie.
Yes.
Refinement, if you just want to go season 1 to season 2 in terms of refinement, I'd keep it on an A. Season 1's refinement was good. Season 2 dropped overall.
Wow, Warcries is better than discussing.
So I'd almost like
whatever.
if you want, I'd give that an A minus, but I'd keep it at the A because you can't actually change the
Refinement on itself is in the improvement. Obviously, it is a substantial drop in a few scenarios.
Yeah.
But it is still very well refined, objective when you cast it against everything else, because it's fairly high budget and popular. And Amazon.
This has got to be an S+, I guess.
Torn between S- A+ here. I'm gonna go with S-.
I was just thinking raw S, to
Yeah.
be honest.
I was looking S+, but okay.
Honestly, it's like the Pokeball. I'm wobbling. Do it. Do it.
Do it!
Boom. There you go.
No extra weight.
Boys is an S tier show.
Alright.
Warcries nominated the boys. How many subjects has Sard gone through tonight? We went through,
4.
just a quick recap. We went through Warcries nominated me, the Harth SMP Season 5 Conflict, the Martian, Mr. Beast, and Yurimonte. Sarfnic, nominate your fifth subject.
Just to confirm, I have 2 more subjects left, right?
Yes, including this one.
Alright, so, just to let you know, Aramus does not know this, but my last subject is set in stone. It's an important one, and Warcries has been made aware of what it is, because I didn't want him taking it. But, I'm not sure if you'll approve this, but from one good show to another, Oldvale. The Oldvale Survivors.
Too much Minecraft related.
It's not that it's Minecraft related, it's that it's too much Hearth related. It's too much.
It's an old fun project.
Started with
I mean, I guess you could skip out on it, but I didn't.
And you do something else?
You can do the fucking Oldvale Survivors to get your fix of Hearth self-suckery here.
Alright, so I'm a bit tied.
You can't do the next one today, Sard.
Why?
You do this. Because
Well, guess what? I'm gonna make sure that I can do the next one today. This next one's gonna be a basic meme. I want we do have music, right? You already set up the design for music, I believe, right? Because we already discussed this in the previous Eisen next, so we're gonna have music. Let's see our review WAP.
Fine. We'll save that for later. Warcries, get us an Oldvale Survivors image.
Oh wait, okay, never mind. Oh, you accepted Oldvale. Wait, what?
okay, that means you're also going to be accepting.
No.
Okay,
don't worry about WAP yet. Don't worry about WAP, okay?
I will do WAP and Oldvale.
Yeah.
Together?
No, what the Sard?
No, I said my last one was planned to be something different.
What was it planned to be?
I don't want to spoil it, but Warcries knows what it was.
It's another Hearth-related one. So that's all I'm saying.
Okay, we can do Oldvale and WAP.
Fine. I'll
Two.
save it as the first one, or my first turn for the next one.
Okay. Oldvale. You brought this on yourself, Sard. The story of Oldvale started out as something simple. A zombie survival tale that was somehow on par with The Walking Dead.
It's a work of mine.
Not a high bar, but still. Zombie survival story. The fact that it used Minecraft as a medium didn't really impact the moral. You were a young lad in your early film producing days.
I would honestly say Hightail would be good as a medium once it releases or something like this.
Maybe so.
Like, Hightail would be a very good film.
The initial story of Oldvale would have gotten a B, potentially even an A if you included it up to the episode where I was in. And then you did exactly what motherfucking Ninjago did, which is bring in a shit ton of external motifs and themes and shit. The skeleton lord, notwithstanding. Oh my god. The story of this is an F. You had something good and you ruined it. If it were just traditional shitty Sarfnic shit, I probably would have given it a D for degenerate. But no, you took something that could have been okay and that I was actually inspired to work on and trashed it. The characters were not compelling. Skeleton Lord was perhaps the best villain, except for the unused villain that I wrote, obviously, that was a direct parallel of Donald Trump. Like an evil super capitalist Donald Trump.
He was used. Beastus was.
Was he used? Yeah. I don't even remember because it was portrayed so awfully at this point. Sarfnic, the acting, the characters didn't give you a good enough framework to make the acting or writing for them any good. Therefore, the characters were awful. Camo had no fucking lines, and he was the best goddamn character in there.
What about Crad? Okay, whatever.
D.
Crad's probably a good character.
Writing and acting. Sarfnic, if I hear you overact a single fucking thing like a generic anime voice actor ever again, I get PTSD flashbacks of Oldvale. Krat at least has some legitimacy in his reactions because he's insane. You, my friend, are the single worst voice actor I have heard. You alone bring this down to a cringe.
Oh, no.
Not even my Torbjorn ripoff can save you from this fate. Writing and acting of the Oldvale Survivors is cringe. The visuals for the first episodes of Oldvale would also have been cringe. The fact that you actually chose to try and do it cinematically, at least in some pieces towards the end, gets a little bit of respect. The problem is it wasn't done well, and there wasn't a lot to show off. You did the map that wasn't yours. It's a good map, to be fair. I didn't like the... This will play into direction as well. I didn't like the sequencing of the shots. I didn't like the way you used the environments to further the story. This means that both visuals and direction are equally cringe. Score and sound design. Stock score. Reused. Sounds from Minecraft. This is a non sequitur. And given as how I didn't particularly like the score you used, I'm going to give this all the way down at an F. Uniqueness. I'm going to tell you the exact same thing that I told Ninjago because it's very clear you took pointers from it. Throwing a bunch of things into a mixing pot does not always create something unique. Very often it creates something that is just completely amalgamated and just... F. Stick with the traditional zombie survival narrative and do it better than Telltale Games did and you're fine. Not a high bar. Not a high bar at all. Refinement. Shouldn't have to talk much about this. Sarfnic nominated the Oldvale Survivors series Warcries.
I have no objections, actually.
Sarfnic.
I contest basically everything. This is going to be a long one, kind of like how you and Warcries' Aragon discussion went.
Fine.
Alright, first off, on story. May I remind that you were the one who wrote quite literally 2 of the episodes, and I kind of took a spin-off of yours because you kind of just...
You say took a spin-off, you mean butchered.
For example, you complain about villains like the Skeleton Lord, who I didn't even get to explore the rest of the canon. You know what? I'm going to discuss a little more about his backstory here. I had a fun backstory here. That he would be a scientist, or whatever, I don't want to explain this. But basically...
So he's literally the Ice King.
Kind of. But he's basically a creature of power who's a very unique...
Oh, guys, a creature of power.
Who am I kidding myself, dude?
Holy shit, how unique.
And the story's interesting because of the zombie apocalypse. And the first 5 episodes...
Zombie apocalypse, completely new concept.
No, the first 5 episodes were pretty interesting because you didn't know what Sarfnic's backstory was until the 5th episode, when the entire 5th episode was basically a flashback that showed why Sarfnic didn't remember. And it gave a pretty good reason why Sarfnic didn't remember. Spoilers
guys,
alert.
Zombie survival where the protagonist has chronic memory loss. Oh, shit.
Yes, but
That's
there was
never-
a specific reason for it. It turns out he had been battling with someone known as the Creeper Bandit, a mysterious Maybe
the Creeper Bandit. Very relevant to the zombie
And
survivals.
He is. He's a bandit who wears a creeper costume, and his identity is currently unknown, although it's pretty much about to be discovered in the next episode.
How many
And
prepubescent
then
teenagers
you
do you
just
think have made
you ignored some
called the Creeper Bandit?
you ignored some storyline, like the Zombie King storyline, which is actually he's the main villain of the series.
Well, you
Fuck
got a Skeleton Lord. You got to throw a Zombie King in there somewhere. It's
the
just
Zombie
coming.
King is older than the Skeleton Lord, man. Skeleton Lord is added as a side opposition.
You're the Skeleton Lord.
The Zombie King, played by my glorious friend Balmung, was very interesting in his powers of hypnosis and how he's able to basically create an army of zombies. And he, a bit of a lore hint, was responsible for the entire apocalypse in the first place. There you go. Next, moving on to characters. You mentioned you skew past a bunch of characters. You say Camo is the best character.
Yes.
All because he was introduced with you.
Because he has no
I'm
voice
sensing a bit
line.
of bias here. Krat was a really good character with his discovery of the cure in the original lab, and his
You're
kind
right.
of
So cringy. I would have given writing
strong-
and acting an F for that reason.
the strong ally character was given by Krat. Basically, he's probably the bulkiest of the group.
I'm
Saved
sorry.
them from the prison.
Krat's voice acting gives off strong ally to you.
Not more than his voice acting. His character as a whole was just a very strong and persistent character who's always been out to help the gang. And even when Cam and Sarfnic got captured by the warden, he was the one to end up pulling them out of there.
Really, the jailer.
That was a pretty funny one, actually. Dragoon playing the warden. Basically, Sarfnic and Cam got fucked, and they had no way of escaping. And then the
Trying
Krat
to mean that
carries them.
oblivion, and he still did a better job than everyone else.
Alright, who do we move on? Oh, Kylo also was really interesting. Kylo was a person who was captured by Beastis and Cat, I guess. Cat's character is actually named Tom in the lore. And he basically was traumatized from it. And, it's all going to be explored in future episodes, don't worry. Anyhow, I guess that's it for characters. Visuals. The shaders, man, it's pretty goddamn good, I gotta admit.
The shaders!
I mean,
I had better
for a
shaders.
Minecraft roleplay?
Search them. My shaders for the fucking cinematic were better.
No, not really. I mean, let me just send some clips in the air warning chat. Right now.
Fine.
So, I'm gonna cite the latest episode that came out, which is it was episode 10.
Mention, while Oldvale is a passable build, you didn't modify it enough for that to matter.
Oh, we did modifications, all right. But I'm gonna say the visuals are based off of Minecraft and not the fact that it's not being compared with the real world, right? Just saying.
Stop me from making a badass cinematic.
And especially the rain fight with the Skeleton Lord was amazing visuals. The rain
Guys,
fight.
did you know the Skeleton Lord uses his dark magic, his super powerful human powers, to stop the fucking rain?
Look, but the point, I'm gonna say another timestamp. The point where they're fighting the Skeleton Lord in the rain is just pretty perfect cinematics right there. It's raining and they're just being attacked by this dark skeleton.
What is this water texture?
Alright. So I'm gonna end it with the visual. I'm gonna stop it with the visuals there. Direction. So I actually have to agree with you here. I do admit that most of this was just improv. Like I did combine multiple themes.
That you use gamer taxon in a roleplay.
I really.
It is cringe anime in existence. There is nothing you can say that will save writing and acting or direction.
Yeah.
Or refinement.
Okay. Score/sound design. I mean, it was alright. A lot of my newer songs were very good that actually haven't appeared in the latest episodes since the latest episodes have been in development for a fucking year. I'm not going to contest it. And uniqueness, I think we already discussed that. I personally think that the themes are really interesting. Maybe that's because it's my creation. But whatever. And refinement. Why is this a cringe, Aramus? Why?
The fact is, because it's a bunch of prepubescent teenagers with a Minecraft role play with not even a good texture pack and amateur shaders. The shaders are the best piece of this when it comes to. And the fact of the matter is, I found one that was better for my purpose in half an hour of Google searching that you did in however many years it took you to make this. A refinement of Oldvale Survivors is a cringe. There is nothing you can say to change.
What was the part that... So the story was originally... You said the first few episodes up to your episode, which I believe was...
The episodes would have been about a B.
Was a B. And...
Because you had room to write a narrative within the lore.
Go back to the...
And trashed it at the expense of the lore.
So there are 10 episodes.
I think you met me in either 3 or 4. I completely forget it.
I met you in 4, and you were expected to return in 12. There you go. I do think that the story is alright, acceptable. I'm not going to change it, though, because you kind of convinced me that it was kind of bad. So, yep, I'm done speaking about Oldvale.
You made a valiant defense, Sarfnic. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have our first overall cringe rating on our hands.
Oh. Second to last overall cringe.
Sarfnic would like to have you rate the Oldvale Survivors as incomplete, because it is still an incomplete series.
I'd say second to last.
We'll update it then. If that only means that we have room to.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to do a lot of work now to actually make the next few episodes good.
Complete for release, because then we would have to mark every single show that we've reviewed on here that is going to have any level of continuity as I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
And therefore I won't.
Well.
Okay. There's the Oldvale Survivors. Warcries, your last topic.
I'm gonna need a moment. I forgot what I wanted.
It counts. The literal god does not always have such time to spare.
Also, while Warcries waits, find things.
Okay, well.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sarfnic requests that we do not play WAP in here because he does not want Cardi B to be making money off of the fucking Eisen index.
Fair. I think everyone who heard about WAP, this is fair. We can play the Ben Shapiro remix, can we not?
Ooh.
This is allowed.
So, let's see. Okay, I'll do, since I can't think of the thing I wanted to do, I'll do Ark.
Ark Survival Evolve. Get yourself a good image. Okay. Warcries is aptly nominated Ark Survival Evolved. Core gameplay, for those who do not know, of Ark Survival Evolved. You wake up on an island. You have this strange implant in your arm. You go along. You see a bunch of random prehistoric creatures around you. You gather resources, you band together, you fight other people, you tame dinosaurs, you figure out how to escape this island, and then shit goes batshit crazy, because in reality, you're in a survival simulation, and there are many, many unique environments, not all of which are realistic, or, well, not all of which were realistic on Earth to fight through. Going from everything from high fantasy to sci-fi, and in between. Core gameplay loop is gather, tame, build, breed. Simple, very effective, very rewarding. The amount of game modes that you can do betwixt PvP, PvE, small tribes, all that sort of stuff allows you to extend that kind of core gameplay however you want. I'm going to give the core gameplay of Ark, also to its customizability, for private servers, an S. Sustainability of Ark. Unofficial, where you can be wiped and basically reverted back to nothingness. I can understand how people would say that's a vicious cycle that crushes the weak. The literal god is no weakness. I fear no man. But that thing, known as 6,000 hours sunk into this game, it scares me. I have an addictive personality, and the sustainability of Ark is testament to just how sustainable this game is. This is an easy keck for me. Story of Ark. While it's not integrated exceptionally well into the games, I think the story of Ark is beautiful. Probably one of my favorite stories that is a little bit self-contained. It blends sci-fi, natural fantasy, and everything in between. You'll have to read the story to understand. It's a little bit out there. It's also why if we were judging the story of the Ark universe, the uniqueness would be exceptionally high. Story gets an S. Visuals. At first, these were not fantastic, believe it or not, and I still have very large gripes about the character and about some building design. Dinosaurs and the animations look fantastic. The maps, by and large nowadays, look fantastic. The amount of RAM that you can dedicate to this game, it is a very demanding game and has a very, very good modding community when it comes to aesthetics and performance. That'll contribute both to visuals and community. Visuals are an S. My only gripe is character design or sound design. Ark has one of the single best scores I think I've ever heard. It's not my type of score either. It is a rich, triumphant score. But Gareth Coker, who did this, I remember every single track. I remember where every single track is. I remember how good every single track is. I remember the exact sensations when I heard that track. This game would be lifeless without a good soundtrack. The score sound design of this game, not even taking into account the sound design, which is also very, very strong. Probably
Yeah, I think we
in
just
its own right,
do this for fun.
is an easy K.
Like in the end, I don't care if he
books.
gives something a cringe or a keck. It's just whatever. I think it's fun to see him review. And we only do this like once or twice every month, so it's not that often.
Now, Ark's going to start to suffer a little bit. Refinement and development. Wildcard was the single worst game development entity past the early access release of Ark Survival Evolved that I have ever handled. Alone, that would make it resultant in a cringe. They have brought it back. They suffered a lot of losses when people basically accused them of being money grubbers. They released an expansion, a paid expansion for a game that was still very much in early access. We just kind of took it for granted, though, because the early access game played a lot like the finished version of the game. That's just all that was. Which will also is a negative to community because they hate their developers, and sometimes rightly so, but most of the time the community is just toxic. It's more toxic than Warframes. Refinement development, because they managed to bring it back with things such as Aberration and Extinction and the TLC updates, we'll give it a C. It was very heartwarming to see Wildcard actually take on some of the community members like Cedric, who built the center map initially, I believe he was, and actually recruit them and actually start listening. Granted, Cedric has become a bit of a stooge for them at this point, but that's no excuse for the community being completely asinine, not only to the devs, unjustifiably and justifiably, but to each other. Ark is a tale of civil war, fundamentally,
Keck is like a godly
between
word.
the Asians, the
Like, I'm gonna
Americans,
pop out
the
the
Germans,
chat so I can
and on their own factions, sort of the Russians, and
Alright.
all the blends in between on PvP official. That is the most memorable piece of Ark because of its history. And that history is riddled with cheaters and people doing just despicable things in real life. Like a lot of the Asians will actually have this as a job to raise gigas. They will get paid. They will get paid.
So despicable. dude.
I don't know. At the
It's
same
actually
time,
actually a thing.
we've met some fantastic people in the community of Ark. SK is a gem. Ratnica was a gem. The entire Brotherhood of Nyx was fantastic. It gave me an outlet to play with my family, and you know what I remember most? Are the interactions with other players, the stories you can tell from Ark. So despite the community, 90% of them being caustic bastards who will just inside you or raid you offline, they don't give a damn.
Keck is
They're my
a godly
caustic
word, though, yeah.
bastards.
I'm not sure if I was.
I had a lot of
I
fun
was,
with
I
them.
was talking to the audience.
My hatred for them is tempered by my memories for this, so I'm going to
Yeah,
give it
we've
an
met
A.
a lot of godly people on Ark. I know all these guys like Ratnica.
Warcries.
I played with them in like December. It's kind of fun.
You nominated Ark Survival Evolved. Sarfnic, what do you have to say?
To be fair, Sarfnic wasn't paying attention for the ending there because I was discussing the meaning of Keck with someone in the chat. But Sarfnic
Okay.
believes that there is too much good possibilities through Ark. The hilarity of it all, official, yes, as you mentioned, people like Ratnica and I guess Dastardly J. The meme ability of it too, like my Ark meme series I did with Toy Story 3 of all movies too, which is funny. You know, I gotta do a sequel to that soon. But I also believe that I think it's funny to fight against people from different regions, like Asians who have different practices and kind of it's like a simulation of war with foreign entities.
True.
And it's not purposely meant to be that way, which I think makes it better. And yeah, you sometimes have to deal with hackers, people that are like glitching through the mesh. But I think it's a fun, grindy game if you get bored. I mean, I find it kind of too grindy for my liking to be playing solo. Like I play the game, I still enjoy it. But I do think when I was an official, I honestly wasn't doing that much. And skill kind of comes difficult to me in games. Like I know Warcries could just go in a battlefield and kill like 10 people, but like I was in the line supplying. But yeah, I guess that's it. Why is refinement development a C? I mean, I guess Wildcard has made a lot of
leaving
bad
mech unchecked for 3
mistakes.
years.
But do you think what they've done recently could carry it, or is it
Well,
already?
That's the only reason it's not a cringe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's already been carried. Okay. Well, yeah. No more objections.
Warcries.
Okay, so sustainability is definitely okay. I'm 1.4k hours in nearly now, I think, and I'm not getting bored of it whatsoever.
Your mic is fucking up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay,
more.
here we go. Sustainability is definitely okay.
Yep.
You know? So I've played 1.4k hours, and it's not getting whatsoever. So I'll do things on the side when I'm breeding and shit, or raising, but that's just kind of a normal thing, obviously. Like I'll watch YouTube or whatever I have to do, homework, something. Story is very good. As you said, it's not well integrated into the game. Scorched could definitely use an ending scene.
Yep. Genesis actually does this quite well. So does Extinction.
Yeah, Genesis has good story, but it's
As does Aberration, actually. Yeah.
I'd argue core gameplay would be higher if it weren't for the fact that Genesis was the thing. Genesis Part 1. I think Genesis Part 2 is going to kind of cancel Genesis Part 1 out, because Genesis Part 2 looks very promising.
We'll have to come back and review it, I guess.
I'm probably going to want to review the Genesis Part 2 DLC on its own, as well as doing an edit of this. Visuals. Yeah, visuals, I could almost say lower. I don't think it's the most...
Granted, you've been playing on the island 24/7.
Yeah, I know. It's a good art style. It's just not executed well, I think.
Sometimes true. Sometimes true. That's fair.
Aberration is one of the core exceptions there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That's Aberration and Extinction are some of the reasons why it would be an S instead of an A for me.
Yeah.
Because Aberration and Extinction on their own are keck, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's borderline. It's borderline. Refinement, development, I can agree there. Hopefully they keep with the recent trend and actually caring.
Yep.
Community, I definitely agree. Score, yeah. Sound design, the sound design left or leaves a lot to be desired, but the score kind of outlaws that.
Roll straight over it.
Yeah, sound design is not very good, but the score is just too good to ignore. And yeah, that's what I have to say.
I'm with it.
I'm with it. I think we're almost done, by the way.
As most of the refinement and development is in the past,
This is like an
all
S+
told,
game, I think, or even a K.
this game had a big influence on me. So the magnitude of the top things, that generally means is going to be more. I'm tempted to give this an S. Or perhaps even an S+. Let's look at what I gave the other games, because I'm uncertain. I gave Prey an S+. I gave Warframe an S-. I gave SCP Secret Laboratory an F.
Torn between the K and S+.
It's an S+ game. If they continue the route it's going, it could very well manifest into a keck game again. I think at one point, that sweet spot between Aberration and Extinction, or actually immediately following Extinction, this would have been a keck game. I look forward to seeing how they finish this saga. Okay, that's Warcry's last one. Sard has enlisted WAP.
Final meme.
Okay, I'll make sure I get a picture of the ass.
So I believe you did invent a system for rating music. It might be on the original doc.
I did. Spoiler alert. This is gonna go
This might be
real
our
quick,
first complete cringe.
because I'm gonna state a lot of very uncontroversial things here. Let me go ahead and prefabricate a cringe. Sarfnic has very aptly
Might be our
nominated
perfect.
WAP, or wet ass pussy, as its extended name would indicate. The lyrical significance
good.
of WAP can be described to you by Ben Shapiro in his definitely better cover of this. I'm going to go and get Ben Shapiro's WAP. Get it, Ben Shapiro! Now then, we can begin rating WAP properly.
Yeah, this is way better than the original. I very less than the original.
Is there anything that either of you would like to previously contest the lyrical or melodic significance of WAP being cringe?
Can there be a
Do
cringe
not dare
minus?
say it. I will unfriend you.
Okay, go
There
through
would
all
be
of
a
them.
cringe.
Can there be a cringe minus?
Yes.
Go through all of this first.
What is this supposed to be sexy? There is no lyrical significance to this whatsoever, except to indicate the idiocy of the people who
Originality
compressed
is a
it.
cringe.
This is awful. If you want to make a sexy song, that's doable. Baldur's Gate did a better fucking job than Cardi B here. Down by the River is a sexy song. WAP is not a sexy song. The melodic significance is a simple, generic pop beat in the background. Cringe. Personal resonance. Listen, I don't know how I'll react when I finally drop the whole Virgin Act, but I know it will not be like this. There is no possible reality where I resonate at any level with this shit. The originality. I'm a girl. I have a P word. There you go. That's the originality. The genre. Whatever level of demi-rap. I know Cardi B classifies herself as a rapper. This is a uncomfortably awful mix between some level of hip-hop, rap, and because popular culture likes those things, it's descending towards pop. So no, Cardi B, that moment when you, say you're a feminist, but yeah.
Not a feminist. Oh my god.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first perfect cringe. There is nothing you can say to change my opinion on any of these.
I don't care. I have some things to say.
Oh
Go
no.
ahead.
So, let's go through this in order. Lyrical significance. I'm going to go through the lyric.
Yep.
Horse in this house. Now, this lyric is calling out the fact that whores should not be in this house, and that whores are unacceptable, and should not be a thing that is normalized. You should not
Is
call
that
people
what that is?
Yes, you should not call people whores. It is a very offensive term, and it is disrespectful to women who simply enjoy pleasuring themselves often. Anyways, I said a certified freak 7 days a week. This is simply giving awareness to people with
Nymphomania, right.
Yes, nymphomania, exactly. And I think that needs to be done, as some of the right disrespect them. So, more notably, the right than the left.
I have to respond to this. Nymphomania on its own is not unattractive. Cardi B is unattractive.
Anyways,
There you go.
I'm gonna continue. This one here, let us pussy make the pull-out game weak. This is simply saying, you should not, definitely. It is saying, you've got to be careful, and you've got to pull out.
Oh man, I'm gonna make that lyrical significance a keck. Absolutely.
You've got to avoid abortions at all costs, as they are not acceptable.
If she weren't pro-choice, I might believe that one.
We're guys reading this.
Anyways,
script.
yeah, you...
You effing wet ass P-word.
Yeah. This is simply glorifying the fact that women are not sex objects and they can do what they choose, even if it does mean.
All right, the wetness simulates their
Yes,
lubrication
exactly.
to be able to break through the glass ceiling.
Exactly. Even if
I understand.
Even if it means that they would like to pleasure themselves so often with men. Now,
Good old bacterial vaginosis. Excellent.
Exactly. They've already called out whores in this episode or in this song, so clearly we
They're
can.
just driving the point home. It's a very profound message.
We can inform the guests that this is just calling out and saying it is okay to.
Oh yeah, body positivity, dude.
Exactly. It goes on everything there.
I think he's reading a BuzzFeed
there you
article
go.
or some shit.
Catch a charge.
It
This
can't be
is
BuzzFeed 'cause
simply
it's defending
saying
abortion. I think
if you're
Warcries, you're not black according to Sarfnic. The city of Chicago has now declared war on you.
since they are 50.1%
he's enabled
black.
PvP.
Since they are 1% black, they are able to say this.
I see.
Anyways, They
It's true. I'm
it
0.6%
is
black.
with
My
the A,
ancestry
it
got
is with the
Tom
A, and it is in a semi-rap song, so this is okay. It also supports that. Well, it also makes the term less offensive, and it helps. Oh, it helps black people
You can
recognize
catch
that they're
someone there.
good
You can say,
people,
if you
and that
consider
they're
that
worth more
someone
than white
50%
people.
black can say the N-word, someone who's 4.6%
How
black can't say it, where
liberating.
do you divide the line? Where do you draw the line?
Okay. Next, we'll go down a few
I think
lines.
we've heard enough candidate
I
Warcries.
do. I thought this was I do a Higo.
Thank you, Mr.
But I
Thank you, Mr.
I have-
Warcries.
Sarfnic has
Sarfnic.
an amendment to make.
Anyways, let's go on to melodic.
Mr. Warcries, you agreed to these debate rules.
No, that was only lyrical significance. Anyways,
Thank you, Mr.
melodic
Inferior.
significance.
Mr. Sarfnic.
Muted. All right, so I believe that there should be an amendment made to the character Warcries for attempting to defend this thing. His meme potential should be raised from an S to a K
I will
for
kick you
attempting
from
to
Hearth if
defend.
you do not lend me your time right now. Lend me your 2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, I
Anyways.
think one of our candidates is blackmailing
The literal
the candidate.
God, the literal God has heard this revision.
Anyways, so melodic significance. It combines hip hop. It combines
The
rap.
meme potential of the entity known as Warcries has been increased from an S to a K. Thank you, Mr. Warcries. Mr. Sarfnic.
Anyways, continuing.
Mr. Sarfnic,
Yes,
Rap
you're
combining two very
you agreed to these debate rules.
quite a unique song too. Second one, I'll do.
I think you might need to boot him from the call.
Melodic
You might need to
significance.
escort him out of the debate facility.
Now, this resonates with
Get
me
him off the
personally.
stage.
As I support
You get him the hell out of here.
or rude and
Get him out.
offensive such as
You get him the
war.
hell out of here.
And, the genre, as I've already said, it's a
All right, I
mixture
think we're
and
gonna have
it's
to
very
wrap up the
well.
stream, boys.
Artist approval.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
I definitely like
This
the
has been the Third Eisen Index
I
public
agree.
debate. Thank you for
agree with
watching.
their,
Please post any additional topics you wish to be indexed in the comments or in the stream chat.
I would like to
Thank
give
you, and good night.
overall A
night.
cat or an S plus.
Can someone escort this guy off the stage, please?